It's called prevention for a reason. You can prevent it. Adults, you can't just be buying these animals so they can look cute. You got to take care of them just like you do your a newborn baby. You take them for checkups. You make sure they're good on that end. You got to do the same thing for your dog. You got to.
I wish humans could be more like dogs. If you think about it, all a dog really needs is a little love and happiness.
Welcome back to another episode of Wine, Whiskey, and Tail Wags.
Hey y'all.
We are the record for today is Teddy Pendergrass. He gonna carry us through this thing. But today we're talking about flea and tick prevention and all different types of prevention you would want to get for your dog or your puppy or kitten.
And heartworm prevention. So to get started, kind of get into it. Of course, both flea and tick and heartworm prevention do recommend that you keep it on year round. No matter where you are, just for the extra protection. You never want to give any parasite a chance to get attached to your dog or infest your dog in any kind of way. So recommend it year round and it start as early as possible. Start with the first topic of flea and tick.
First question: what is a flea, and what is a tick?
So fleas are insect. They feed on the blood. They reproduce on the pet a lot, or in the home. Fleas, they're kind of very small little bugs, bug-like. Usually, the adult ones that you can see is the adults. The ones you can't see are usually the larvae, the pupas, the other life cycles of it, which the adult only makes up 5%. So flea is basically a little bug parasite that feed on blood of the host and usually makes the pet very itchy due to the feeding and stuff. Some pets do have allergies to where they're basically allergic to the saliva and things like that. So usually if they get bit, it sets the whole skin on an itchy frenzy, inflammation and stuff like that.
What is a tick?
Ticks usually another parasite type of insect bug. You can find them on many different mammals. Deers, humans can get them, and they carry a lot of different diseases as well. Different diseases like Lyme, Ehrlichia, Anaplasma, which a lot of times take time to start to see some of those symptoms of those, but basically just little bugs that attach to the skin. Usually it takes 24 to 48 hours for them to even transfer a disease from a pet. So if you have them on prevention, you won't even give either one of those parasites a chance to attach to the pet or live on the pet or anything like that.
Can humans get flea or ticks?
Humans can get ticks, definitely. Ticks do attach a certain one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why, like, if you go hiking,
Mm.
if you're a person that go hiking in the woods and stuff like that, you can get ticks. Usually the disease that we can get from ticks is Lyme, which can cause paralysis and different things like that in humans. As far as fleas can bite people, but they're not like a natural host. They're not a preferred one. So usually if flea jumps on, bites, and jump off, people do, like if their home is infested, of course, the fleas will feed on them too, which I've seen people that have flea bites on them, feet covered, arms covered, different things like that, which some people can get misconstrued with the bed bugs if they're not familiar. But usually, if you have a pet, you can start with fleas and stuff because they live in the carpet, beddings, different things like that.
Where would I start as far as getting prevention for my dog or cat?
Preferably, you don't buy over-the-counter flea and tick prevention just because it's a chance you might waste your money just simply because it's a chance you're taking that it's going to work, not going to work. At least, preferably, you would take your pet to a vet, get them checked out. Usually, you need at least just a physical exam to kind of have the pet established with a lot of places, and then they'll prescribe prevention. A lot of times they'll have it in-house or you can order online through different pharmacies. There's a lot of online pharmacies. You just want to find a good reputable, trustworthy one that can get you your prevention, because there are some places, like some people have bought prevention from certain online warehouse in a sense, and it's not the real thing. They might be in the box might look the same, but it's not the real, but it's not the actual medicine. So you want to be careful with that because that can cause reactions into your pet into pets. A lot of prevention start around 8 weeks, and so if you have a new puppy, you can get them established. If it's a growing puppy where they're a large breed, you just might want to start with single dosage just until they get to a more stable weight. Just because a lot of prevention have weight ranges within them depending on the size of the pet.
Is flea collar a good suggestion for prevention?
There are some flea collars that does work really well. The main thing is, of course, people don't really know medicine, but always ask your doctor what are the ones they recommend, because a lot of the over the counter flea collars don't work as well, or their pet or people's pets have reaction to it just because depending on what medicine is in there irritates the skin and stuff like that. There are different types of preventions. You got your chewables, your collars, your topicals, which is just means it goes on the skin. Orally, they take it chewable. There's pros and cons to each one that you do. Of course, with the collar, you want to make sure it's touching the skin so that it can actually do what it's supposed to do, create that barrier shield around them. A lot of people put the collar on too loose or too tight, and it's like restricting the dog. So you don't want to have it too loose because then it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And there's been people like, it's not working. It says it's supposed to work, and it's just like, well, maybe if you tighten it a little bit. But sometimes certain things don't work for a certain pet, and you might have to try something else. Or when it comes to like oral medicine, depending on your pet and the genetics, you might want to stay away from certain oral medicine just because if they have prone to seizures or have neurological situations, usually that taking a certain oral flea and tick prevention can contribute to it or kind of bring on more of an onset.
I never really believed in flea collars anyway. Just the science behind it. Like you tie it around a dog's neck and it's supposed to cover the entire body. Most fleas be in the sanitary area, so I just don't. I would go the chewable route or.
Me, I prefer chewable myself. It's like I know there's ones that do work, but I just prefer to know that it's in them. They got it, and that they have that protection. Going into the pros and cons of each one, so you got your topical, which sometimes can leave the oily residue. Some of them can have reaction on the skin where it can burn them. Puppy came in not too long ago, had a little bald spot from having a over the counter flea and tick topical. Depending on how it's made, if it's an oil base or alcohol base. If it's oil base, usually you can't bathe the pet for up to 24 hours, which some people don't like, or you can't have your kids around them or have other pets around them because they might lick it. Versus an alcohol based one, usually it dries really fast, so you could have your kids around them, give them a bath 2 hours afterwards, and know that it's still in them. And just that oily residue, the residue behind it. The pros for topical, once again, that's for your pets that are prone to seizures or have that disposition to seizures or neurological problems. Topicals could be a good option for them. Then you have your oral, which they take it. As long as they take the whole thing, it's going to work. If you put it in their food, you want to make sure they eat all of their food and not some of it, because you want the point of taking the medicine is to take the whole tablet.
Or you can wrap it with cheese or wrap it with turkey or peanut butter to get them to take it.
There's different ways that you can help get your pet to take the oral medicine. And then lastly is the collar, which kind of similar to some of the topical cons, which it can have the skin reaction, sometimes the effectiveness of it, but the pros of it, you don't have to a lot of flea collars last longer than the oral ones, so you might there's some that last up to 8 months, so you don't have to remember to give a medicine each month. For some people that works better, but you just got to remember to switch it out by the 8th month or sometimes a little sooner. And that's another thing a lot of people don't know, that depending on how bad the infestation is or just depending on how the pet's makeup is, you might have to give the flea and tick prevention a little bit sooner. So say you, instead of every 30 days, you might have to give every 28 days. The most important thing is just making sure you're reading and knowing the age, the weight range, weight requirements for the pet when choosing the right one. Of course, you always ask your vet which one do they recommend, which ones, and they'll usually give you a list because there's a lot of ones out there. There's new ones coming out every day, and it's just important to keep them on it because once you have an infestation, it's hard to get rid of. A lot of times, even the steps to get rid of them, you want to, of course, put the pet on something, flea and tick, treat your home, vacuum, mop, do their bedding, do your bedding if they do sleep with you. So that those are some things to help cut back. So like if you have an infestation to get it started, the process started of eradicating them, those are the things you could do along with treating your yard to make sure the area, because sometimes it could be just outside and that's where it keeps coming from, so you could treat your yard. A lot of times people would treat the home with the bomb or something, or have the bug people come out, do the pesticide, and then they'll take the pet to the vet or take them to the groomer, have the groomer do the flea treatment there. A lot of times you can do a capstar, which works for about 24 hours. I know that's something you do for some of your pets.
If I was to have a pet that came in with fleas, I would give them a capstar at the beginning of the groom to kill the fleas. It kills them in about 30 minutes, and like she said, lasts for about 24 hours. And while they're, with me at the groomer, I would, recommend to the parent to go ahead and vacuum and clean their house before they get back home. Because if not, in a day, the flea is going to jump right back on the dog. So you want to treat the dog and treat your home at the same time. So and then put them on some type of preventative. Capstar only lasts 24 hours. The fleas are going to come right back. So it's best to do all that at the same time.
So that's pretty much what I have for fleas and ticks. Did you have anything else to add?
You want to take care of them because it could get out of hand. It can get a lot worse. It can get a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's called prevention for a reason. You can prevent it. Adults. You can't just be buying these animals so they can look cute. You got to take care of them just like you do your a newborn baby. You take them for checkups. You make sure they're good on that end. You got to do the same thing for your dog. A lot of this stuff can be prevented. I see as a groomer, and I'm pretty sure Sierra as well. We see a lot of dogs that have fleas or ticks, and all this stuff could have been prevented. Most of the time, it's just the owners being lazy. They don't take the time to even make sure their dog good.
Or a lot of people just simply don't believe they need it. Like being that they feel like, oh, in the wintertime, I don't need to do heartworm prevention, or I don't need to do flea and tick prevention because it's so cold they can't survive. And it's not always true, because you can find mosquitoes inside the home, which the home is warmer. It literally has to be absolutely freezing, but it's still, why take the chance of allowing that to happen? Because you can easily forget if by saying, okay, I'm not going to do this month, I'll do 2 months from now, and 2 months from now come, you're busy with other things and you forgot because you're thrown off schedule. So each month, just do it. Doctors are not trying to poison your pet. It's not extra poison in their body. It's just something that we do recommend because it's not fun to deal with. It's not fun to deal with. And it could be a sad situation if you if you leave it just to the wind.
Mm-hmm. Like, their lifespan can get cut from something that could have been prevented. So fleas and tick and heartworm prevention is extremely important and not something that, just to talk about or be overlooked. We thank you for joining us.
Yes, we do. On another wine, whiskey, and tail wax.
I wish humans could be more like dogs. If you think about it, all a dog really needs is a little love and happiness.